Hi everyone, my name is Doreiby Riker. I go by Dory. My business is Robust Wholeness. I specialize in the lymphatic system and as a wellness consultant. You can find me on Instagram at robust_wholeness or at TikTok robust wholeness.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we got Miss Dory here. I met her like maybe a year ago at down the street, but right now we're at the Gator Shack, and this is the only place in Lochahatchee you can actually get gator that I know of. So yeah, especially that's decent. That's hard. If you want to, compete, holler at me. I'll eat. I'm 200 pounds for a reason. But we're going to talk about her business, what she does, how she does it. Even though she may be going to other states and possibly other countries, you're from Colombia, right?
I am from Colombia.
Yeah, and all you guys want to go to Colombia, and she might have some tips on when you want to go there and actually learn how to be a residente and a person and not just go for the chicas, but go for like
Yes.
learn how to do some business. Welcome to the show. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm doing well. How are you?
Blessed by the best. Let's start with what got you into doing this business, and also let the people know what does it take to start. Like, because people want to say they get into massage, but then they say, I don't have any money to start for school. I don't have any money to start for a location. How did you begin?
Okay, so to start, my background is in occupational therapy. I got my degree in occupational therapy, and when the time came to specialize, I knew that I had to pick something. So I dabbled around in different areas of the profession. I worked pediatrics for a little bit, I did a little bit of orthopedics. And it wasn't until my mom got breast cancer and developed lymphedema in her arm that I came to know what the lymphatic system was. I mean, we touched briefly in school about it, but it wasn't anything deep to where I got enough information to know right away that my mom was having lymphedema. So as time progressed, my mom's arm kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I started really getting frustrated. This is we're talking back 2007, 8. So I went ahead and I started doing my research, being the inquisitive person I am. I just started researching, going to libraries, doing whatever I had to do. And I specialize in the lymphatic system to help my mom out. And then I treated lymphedema, which is the acute, when your lymphatic system is truly compromised. You tend to develop a lot of swelling. People hear more like a lymphitis is one of the most common names you hear it. And that comes from a mosquito bite. And that's something that happens in other parts of the world. We don't necessarily see it here so much, but it's what the most common inflammation that people relate lymphedema to. So as time progressed, I started treating regular lymphedema, and then I came to the correlation of wellness. And I'm like, wait a minute. We have all this. First of all, when it comes to lymphedema, we're so behind the ball in America. A lot of doctors are diagnosing this condition. I see it all the time. I've actually helped a lot of people from losing their limbs and other casualties that can happen just from the lack of diagnosis and the errors just from the lack of information. A lot of doctors are uninformed. They're giving people diuretics, and lymphedema fluid is protein rich. So you're pulling out water, but you're still keeping all those proteins. So the skin starts tearing, it starts weeping. That's a whole other conversation. But I got to thinking, like, okay, doctors aren't informed. Most people aren't informed. I would ask someone, do you know where your lymphatic system is? And it's like crickets. And I made it my mission to be more outspoken about it and bring more information out there and how, like, actually take care of our system correctly. It can help us prevent diseases. Think of it as like your sewage system. Your lymphatic system is literally your sewage system, and it's like you think of a sink. And then you have the sink, and then you have the hole that goes to drain, right? Your lymphatic system is the pipes. And sometimes the pipes get clogged. And that comes from the excessive amount of toxins that we put in our lives. Everything that's environmental, from the stuff we add to our skin, from the things that we eat, our skincare, our products, our clothing, polyester. I mean, there's so many things that touch our skin directly to where it goes right to the lymphatic system. And I'm not sure if anybody knows, but anything that touches your skin takes 26 seconds to go into your bloodstream.
Mm.
It's that fast. You're better off drinking it than you are putting it on your skin. Has a lot more process, and then it goes into the brain barrier. So all those things combined got me to thinking, like, man, I just have to put this information out there. So slowly I started treating privately, and I started doing a lot of post-op care for women who had plastic surgery. That's another very common way people know lymphatic system. And I came across open incisional drainage, which is another thing I'm kind of fighting against right now, because there's a lot of people out there claiming they're doing lymphatic drainage, and they're literally reopening incisions and pushing fluid out. They don't stimulate the lymphatic system. There is no actual benefit from that. They're actually causing the person more harm than they are good.
Let me ask you, for the person who's never heard of this, and before I say that, did you want any gator?
Sure.
Help yourself. It's there for you. Take as much
Thank
as you
you.
want. This is caliente picante sauce.
You've never had gator?
You've
Give
never had?
Chef's the play to try it.
Oh, you've never had it.
I've had, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you've never had, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
I'm a Floridian.
okay, okay. I was gonna say, huh? What stopped you? So when you talk about the drainage and the way you do it without cutting somebody, do they urinate it out? How does it come out, or is it supposed to stay in your body?
So a true lymphatic specialist will first activate the entire system. And our organs that are connected to the system are kidneys, our liver, our spleen, and our small intestine. Our heart, our thymus. But when we're talking about actual movement of the fluid, everything's going to circulate. Fats are going to get deposited into the liver. The kidneys are going to get to work. So that's why, like, going to a right therapist who knows, let's say if you had kidney failure, if you're in any stage of kidney failure, your lymphatic system cannot be touched. And that's why going to a certified professional is very important. So what ends up happening is that we stimulate everything from the inside out. We have a technique that we move, we circulate the lymphatic fluid, and you'll pee it and poop it out.
Mm. Now, is that in 24 hours? Well, I talk with my mouth full. Excuse me. But is that within 24 hours or is it quicker?
Honestly, it depends. Everyone's different. I've had people that I'm in the middle of working in the massage table and they have to get up and pee right away. I've had people that right after the treatment is done, they'll sit on the toilet for about a good 5 minutes, and they're just going and going, and they can see the cloudiness and the difference between their urine. And even your bowels see differently after a treatment.
Now, we see online there is something, some concoction you can take, and feel free, take more gator. Well, I asked the question, you will not out eat me. I guarantee. If you do, I'll order more. But is there any regiment that you and your family do? Because again, you look healthy, but what we know is people can look healthy and be all type of toxic inside. And we see things that people say, well, if you take this, if you take that, this will come out of you. And people are getting real personal now, right? Online. Is there any thing that you sell or that you recommend people do before, after that, your massage, or that can keep them clear?
So I am in the process of launching my tea, my lymphatic tea and tincture. It's in the works, but it should be out within a couple of weeks. That's something that I make myself. There's a couple of different herbs in there, like dandelion root is one of them. Clover is also in there. There's a lot of different little things that you don't hear of. A lot of people think of them as weeds, but actually do help our lymphatic system a lot. And the biggest thing is to make sure that you're hydrated. Also dry skin brushing. And my TikTok, I'm going to be showing a whole routine on how to dry skin brush properly, how to stimulate the lymph nodes in the morning. And the best thing to do it is in the morning. Also to remember that our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. The cardiovascular system relies on the heart to pump the blood around their body, right? The lymphatic system doesn't. It strictly relies on movement. So let's say you're a very sedentary person, that fluid is going to be stagnant and it's not going to be circulating around the body as efficiently. Therefore, you're going to be more toxic and more sluggish because you still have all those toxins in you, as I was explaining earlier with the drainage of the sink. If the drains are clogged or the drains are they get overloaded. The lymphatic system gets overstimulated. So the key is to you yourself exercise, stimulate it from the inside out. There are a lot of good herbs that you'll find on my TikTok and my website, and mostly nutrition. You
Mhm.
know, it's the basics of life for everybody else. The essentials: get sun, get water, hydrate, and also making sure that your foods are not processed, that you're eating as local, as organic as you can. Limit your meat intake. I'm about 80% plant-based myself.
Mhm.
I do eat meats, but I'm very cautious of where they're sourced. I know my farmers, which is why I moved out here in 2012. I have a nice relationship with local farmers here.
Mhm.
I get my meat from the Circle Seat Farm in Central Florida. I absolutely love Farmer Nicole. Shout out to her. She's amazing. They put a lot of intention into their pasture, into their animals. So all those things in one, and obviously having a good relationship with our creator. I mean, those are all the foundations of keeping our body healthy, but definitely our lymphatic system is top notch when it comes to that. And it's so underrated. It's like the stepbrother nobody talks about, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about it. So someone's talking about it. And you see, you got, so you can see this gator that is delicioso.
Yes.
She had a bite, or I'm about to eat the whole basket. And so that's the difference too. And taking your time and saying, oh, this is good.
Portion control. Making sure you're chewing and fully digesting your food. Chewing every piece of it is very important.
Yes, and I chew very fast and efficient. Probably too fast. So with again, the education, you're educated in this, you were doing, other things in doctors' offices that had to do with the body. If someone wants to do what you're doing, so they can avoid some of the pitfalls, what education do they need to go to? A 4-year school? Can they get this in 12 months? What's the steps that they need to do it, and can they get a scholarship to do it? Because a lot of people are going broke trying to get education when they come to find out.
Hear that.
Yeah.
That's why we all had to improvise. And I actually work more. I've made more money working for myself than I ever did outside of school. And I've been graduated since 2012. I graduated college. And I have to say, it's just, they literally me doing your homework. There's tons of scholarships out there, but as far as getting certified for the lymphatic system, the certification that I got came from the Academy of Lymphatic Studies, and they're actually limited only to nurses, doctors, physical, and occupational therapists.
Mm.
So if you wanted to specialize in this area, you would have to become one of those professions. I think now they might be switching things around for massage therapists, but don't quote me on that. Um, but I went to the Academy of Lymphatic Studies. I study there. It's about a 6-month online program after high degree in OT.
Mhm.
And then you have to do a 10-day, 12-hour seminar. And it's hands-on. This is where you learn true lymphedema, because with lymphedema, we do something called complete decongestive therapy. So you'll learn how to do the actual therapy, how to bandage, how to massage your patients. So it's really a matter of really figuring out what it is that you want to take from it. If you just wanted to do massaging, then maybe you can go into massage school, which is a little cheaper than becoming a physical therapist or an OT.
Tell them about that part, what that time frame for being an OT and doing that, because people want to get rich today. They don't think about, the training that you had before. What did it take? How long? How expensive? Can they get a
Oh
scholarship?
God. So I have my bachelor's in occupational therapy, and that alone was about $60,000. And then I had to specialize in just the lymphatic system. That cost me another about 10. And let's not mention, I have a lot of different wellness certification. I have one through Mayo Clinic, the Health Coach, the United Health Coaching Foundation, which is only for medical professionals, the Integrative Institute of Nutrition, and all of these things. I'm also a clinical herbalist. So all of these things combined, I'm probably $100,000 in education myself.
And how many years?
Okay, so I said I graduated in 2012 from my OT. My first degree I got in 2003, but that was an allied degree in oh my god, hold on. I'm having a moment. It was in hospital administration. So it had nothing to do with actual treating. But I wanted to learn how to manage because I knew at some point one day I was going to have my own business. I knew that I wasn't going to work for someone. I've always had a plan.
Okay.
Even though my plan kind of deered and I ended up coming into the lymphatic system. Initially, when I was in college, I wanted to do pediatrics.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I did it and I was like, no way, not for me. No offense.
What was that? Why?
Most occupational therapists that work pediatrics work with children with disabilities, severe disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that I couldn't do the job. It was just that I love kids so very much. And as a mom, I would take it home.
Okay.
And a lot of the times you're being kind of a punching bag for the parents in a sense because they want you to try to perform a miracle where it's like, I can only get you so far. And it was a lot. I started taking it home. I took it personal. I couldn't separate myself from it, and I did it for a year, and it really wore on me. So I said, I can't do this. Pediatrics is not for me. And some people absolutely love it, and they're great at it.
You're aware, which is a beautiful thing. And before this last piece of gator goes, do you want it?
No,
You sure?
I
Okay.
have had lunch before you.
Okay. Want to just make sure. Don't want to be that guy. With what do you? Well, we talked about this off camera, so I got permission if I could talk about you in helping people with their legitimate pain versus some massage therapists people are going to for pleasure. You've said, you've never had a situation where someone has tried you. You're the first person that I've heard in doing anything with the body where someone might have to get naked that looks like you. That's a female that said, no, you've said I've never been tried. People, the body's going to do what the body does, but no one's expecting anything from you. Can you talk about what you've done? Maybe there's some safeguards. Maybe you have signs everywhere. Maybe you make them sign a consent saying, do not ask me to do anything that's illegal or out of character. I'm married with children.
Okay, so I feel a lot of that comes with the way you carry yourself as a professional. When I treat a lot of gentlemen, I have equally amount of male clients as I have females. And I would say a lot of it has to happen with the way you carry yourself. They come to you because they're in pain or whatever the reason. And I give them so much education and the way I am with, I don't know, I guess the way I carry myself. I've never had it happen. I had it happen one time. And the gentleman I know was mortified. But I said, I'm going to step out and you have 30 seconds to get it situated and I'll be back so we can carry on. And he was mortified because I don't think it was something, it's like you said, guys are mad. It kind of happens naturally. But it wasn't that I was doing anything or I wear scrubs. I carry, like I said, I wear a jacket. I try to just keep it as professional and I'm not doing a regular massage. That's the difference. Lymphatic drainage is not a regular massage. And it depends. Some people are limited to an area. I can spend a whole hour working on your knee.
Wow.
Just because your knee pain is that bad. And it's a different of modalities that I use as well. I'm not always using my hands. Sometimes I have machines. Sometimes I'll do a whole kinesio taping technique just to help pull some of that fluid out.
But
So,
besides
gratefully, no.
besides folks who are maybe physically in pain, injured, various things, what about people with conditions like Crohn's disease?
Any
Uh,
autoimmune.
it can help. And is it something that you have to do weekly, monthly? How does it work for most people?
God, if we can afford it, I would say come as much as you can. Um, but it also depends. I have to look at your history. I have to get approval. Sometimes I have to talk to your doctor and make sure that I'm not overstepping any bounds. But if we can do it, and let's say you have an autoimmune disease where you're trying to kind of regenerate your body and replenish and detox, we're putting in, we're taking out, we're putting in, we're taking out, we're rewiring things. I would say 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, you said if you can afford it, what are the price ranges? So if someone hears one for that $25 special, they can say that's probably not the same thing.
No. So
On Groupon, of course, it would be, right?
right. So I think the cheapest I've seen lymphatic drainage on Groupon is for $100 an hour.
Mm.
Treatments usually last between 55 minutes, 50 to 55 minutes, just because we have to get set up and stuff. But my treatments, I try to be fair. I try to work with my clients depending on situations. I have people who just went through cancer and had chemo a year ago and spent all their life savings trying to get better and now they're taking more of a functional approach. Then at this point I am going to eat it a little bit and lower my price to help this person out, right? Because at the end of the day I do this because I love what I do and I want to heal others. I want to help. I want to teach others how to heal themselves. Our body was designed to heal. So the fact that I can do that, sometimes I don't even look at price. But my most expensive will be 200 an hour, and if I have to incorporate other machines, then we can get higher than that.
Is this a service that someone can come in and you can just feel around? Like, I've had some great people who work on my body and they say, don't tell me what's wrong, let me just see, and they hit the areas that are the tightest. So sometimes you don't know, like I'm on the Peloton, the bike, and the treadmill daily. In case you guys want to follow me, Kellen Cash, let's race. Like, I need that in my life. Like, if I don't compete in something, there, it's like, why are we waking
Why
up?
are we right?
So is
Are you
there,
a Sagittarius by any
no, I'm a
chance?
Gemini.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but is there something that you can just feel in somebody's body?
So for me, I'm more trained to feel swelling. I
Mm,
can tell when there's some muscular as an OT being trained in the body when there's something muscular off. But me, it's mostly like fluid and fluid retention in the body.
mm.
I don't necessarily do deep massages to where I'm actually getting deep into your muscles. So I've never had to feel for that. But I'm sure if I've had in hospitals and clinics and stuff like that. But in my own business, just because I stick strictly to lymphatic drainage, I've never had to. But I can tell by the way a person's walking, the way a person's favoring things, just by watching them that there is a discomfort somewhere, or even just by palpating a certain area, I can tell if there's a fluid retention or if there's a disruption of the lymphatic system in that area.
So I'm gonna go somewhere. You go as deep as you want to go, but I tell all my guys over 40, you have to get your prostate checked. And I've even had a colonoscopy because my mother passed of cancer and she fought it for a good wave, went out beautiful the way she came in the world. But even
Sorry.
guys over 50, yeah, and she told me don't mourn her or she'll haunt me. And she's like, if you stress too much you might go before me. So
Oh,
we look at it like different. Like, she had jokes too,
I
until she
see where
went
you
out.
get it from.
Yeah. But is there any way that you can tell men especially this could even help you physically and maybe even sexually? Because I know if when I tell my guys over 50 especially, you haven't had a prostate or a colonoscopy and you're black in America, like, this is like the number one killer. Forget what they tell you about the police and everything. It's this, and you need to either go to sleep or let your doctor with small hands, and she's beautiful, like Dr. Trudell Doctor right here in Boynton Beach. Is there anything that this massage can help them? Because if someone says like prostate, people don't want to get their prostate because they're like, I'm not going to be able to have sex again. And is there anything with this type of massage that can help them with their physical, with their wife? Because that's only thing that men sometimes jump at.
So the lymphatic drainage, there isn't enough evidence in it. But as a functional practitioner myself, I've rebalanced enough hormones in the last 10 years to know that it helps rebalance hormones. There is a connection between what we do on our day to day, what we intake, what we drink. Um, and obviously don't miss your prostate exam. I'm never saying that, but definitely can help because like I said, if we all get stagnant, male or female, if we're not purging and our body is not waste throwing that sewage out, where is that sewage staying?
Mhm.
It's staying internally. And then the colon gets overloaded, the liver gets overloaded, the kidneys get overloaded, the entire body's overloaded. And do you think you're going to have a sex drive or a function at that point? You won't. And what's going to happen is it's going to create tumors and cancers. And so, absolutely.
Okay, we need that on the TikTok and the Instagram too, because they just so it's like right now that we get so much information. We've had 3 trucks pass by with their advertising, whether it be Budweiser or whatever just passed through. People are not doing what they should be. They're not reading what they should be. They're not going to the exams they should be because they're like, wait, hold on. There's a Turo play, an Airbnb. I can get rich in Airbnb. They're looking at making money, but what good is making money when you're unhealthy? And there's a lot of people, and I represent like athletes and content creators and physicians. These are all busy people. You know, to come in to someone like yourself, it's one extra task and they don't understand the
The
benefits of
benefit,
it.
right? And that's because, like I said earlier, there's a lot of the lack of education.
Mm,
We're overloaded with information, but it's hard to trust which one is correct, which one makes sense. And then there is information that's just not even being put out there. And fellas, like just how we get sick, you guys can get sick. I mean, I have friends that are trying to get pregnant and the girls are doing everything and the girls are stop drinking, the girls are cleaning their bodies, the girls are doing this. What about the guy?
mhm,
The male sperm is just as equally as important as our egg.
mhm.
But if your man is still drinking, your man is still out there doing his thing, how do you think that's gonna work?
Yeah,
The strongest swimmer ain't gonna win at that point
yeah,
because there isn't one.
yeah,
They're all somewhat, they're like toxic sperm.
yeah.
And do you want to have a toxic baby?
No
I
one
don't
says,
think
yeah,
so.
no one says they do because you don't want to take care of, and I feel for all the people who have like special needs
Right.
because I mean, you just don't know. And nobody was that perfect where, sometimes the drinking has got you the baby. Some or the other things going
Right,
on.
but like life is moderation.
Hmm.
If you don't drink all the time and you're out one night and you and your wife happen and it happens, then whatever. That was God's plan.
Yeah.
But if you're someone that's drinking often or you have the same recreational habits that are toxic, it's gonna wear in your cells. It's gonna stay in your DNA. The DNA is recorded every 6 months. So we have the power to rechannel and regrow and regenerate, but it takes work and it takes a lot of work. And as far as prostate cancer is concerned, I'm going to give you a story of a gentleman I treated when I was working hardcore lymphedema, which is the acute portion of the lymphatic system being compromised. The gentleman had prostate cancer. He had his surgeries. He was probably 5 years post op, and his testicles started getting swollen and swollen, and he developed lymphedema in his testicles, so much to where the testicles were making his penis be true inside. You couldn't see his penis, and he went probably over a year without having sex with his wife. And he came to our clinic, and I remember when I was getting certified, them showing us how to bandage the penis.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like this, and these are the testicles, and you have to bandage the testicles, right? Because if we use short stretch compression bandages, it is not painful. So please, it's not pleasant. So please go get your process checked. And I bandaged him, and he worked with me for about 6 weeks to where we got, it's called complete decongestive therapy. We got the swelling from the testicles down. His penis has started coming back out. He was able to have an erection and therefore able to have intercourse with his wife, but it took him a year and a half to get to that point.
Wow.
And it was very painful and very uncomfortable for him and for me as a therapist, because I can tell that the skin in your testicles is so thin. Can you imagine having short stretch like compression bandages on that area?
Yeah.
But he was so swollen that at one point it was getting to his legs, and if we didn't target that area, he would have had double swelling and doubled his legs and no fun drive. And he was an old man. He's 62,
Wow.
62 years old.
Yeah. Now, for the person, sometimes I can hear the audience say, well, if that could help him come back, can that help my girth and grow longer getting that same type of treatment? Is it something where you can say, because that's almost like penis,
No,
extension?
no, because the only reason why his had that girth, the girl, was because he had fluid around there. We were able to pull all that swelling out.
Mm,
So he went back to his size
okay.
that he was, and his wife was very happy. So
Okay, no, that's
yeah,
good.
she even came into the clinic and brought me a gift and gave me a lunch card, and she was like, "Thank you." And I can only imagine they're a younger couple. They're very fit, very active for their 60s, which is
Mm,
common here in South Florida.
yeah,
You know, we're
yeah.
very active
60 is
people.
young in Florida.
Yeah, that's your peak right now.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Now with, talking since we're talking about testicles, and let's go testicles in Colombia, because the reason I brought that up, because so many guys are even getting leg extensions, which is crazy to me that the guys are going from 5'4" to
I've heard
5'11" or
that.
six
Yeah,
foot. And
I'm 5'2", and man, I'm gonna keep myself short.
yeah, but as a woman, it's one thing, but we're having all of this toxic conversations. It's usually single people talking about, I need 666, the women saying that, right? And then the men saying, well, I need someone who's submissive and listens
What
and
is six
jumps.
six six six?
I'll tell you off
Okay,
care, because it's
okay.
not even worth,
Still be happy.
yeah, it's not even worth like putting it out there. But basically they have a height requirement, a measurement requirement, and an income requirement.
Okay,
and
okay.
and you can talk about, being married for so long and going through real life scenarios that I'm not even going to talk about unless you bring them up, because that's not what we do here. This is not the Jerry Springer show or Maury Povich. But in your situation of being married, and you hear, people see you right now and not understand that your husband has to take care of you when you're sick. These are the conversations online people aren't saying. I know my wife has gone through at least 2, maybe 3 surgeries with me because I don't know how to say no to CrossFit, or
Right.
riding that bull. When I did that in Lubbock, Texas, I had to get on the bull. $20, Charlie Thompson's rodeo. You think I'm not gonna get on the bull? I'm a
Right.
real cowboy out here in
Right, right,
Lubbock,
right.
Texas. I had to earn my stripes. But can you talk about, you know, and I mentioned Colombia because we have a lot of people going to Colombia just for
For
women,
surgery.
just to
Or for women. Yeah.
just for women. I mean, we were in Cartagena and Palenque last year, and I'm meeting the passport bros, and I'm out here trying to get a woman, and I'm like, no habla español, not even malo, no practicar todos los días, nothing, but they're just here for women. And a lot of men's life is about women and not about health. Can you tell men about going to Colombia and finding a woman, what they could be looking for, as well as trying to mix in the health part? There's a health part in there somewhere. You guys
So
forgive me.
as a born Colombian and as a woman that has worked very hard to get where I am and studied, and I mean, I'm not saying that my man hasn't helped, because if it weren't for him, I would have never gone through college. I got to go to school where he paid the bills so I can do my clinical. But I don't know. I that is a topic that throws me off because there's a lot of minors in Colombia that are escorts, and I feel like we have a lot of women here. And if you do want to go out there and date women, then go out there and find a woman your age and go out there and maybe date someone that's not an escort.
Mm.
Um, Women, Colombian women, we are raised to be very healthy. You can call it vanity. That's why probably we all look good, but we are all raised from, and even men, we are all raised to.
It's part of the culture.
It's part of our culture. We eat very well. We have soups every day. We eat salads every day. We eat proteins every day. So there is a lot of cultural thing that goes there. But as far as like passport brothers, like I have no respect for that, because I know that they're taking advantage of teenagers who probably are trying to get out of poverty, and they look like they're 19, 20, 22, but they're actually a 14-year-old girl. And
Archery, we'll see you later.
that to me is absolutely disgusting.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's a lot of help that comes from Colombia. We do have amazing surgeons, amazing doctors. It's much cheaper. There is a lot of things that you can get out of Colombia as far as health is concerned. Absolutely. But as far as dating, I don't have the right answer for that. Especially when you mention passport brothers. I have no respect for those guys.
Yeah, I don't. And I don't care if they're dating even adult women. My issue with going to travel so far to get with women, like all the culture that you could go see, like when someone tells me, oh yeah, we were in Cartagena and I saw a couple, I said, did you guys go to Palenque? Palenque what? And I'm like, hold on, you're black. And you didn't even do the research to see the history of the black town that they fought hard for. But you see the beach, and it was a couple, like a man and a woman. I have to be clear on that now when you say couple, because that could be anything now. Me and this beer glass are, could be if I wanted it to be. But that's my issue. Like, there's women here, and there's women you could buy here too if you wanted to. When you go somewhere, if you do meet a woman, why not meet the president's daughter, the diplomat's daughter, a businesswoman who's doing
They're
something?
untouchable. They don't have a price.
Yeah, and but who wants
And
to?
that's like I've come across that a lot. In my 20s, I did bottle service in a mansion in South Beach, and I was 22 years old. I was a smoke shop, and people would try to, hey, let me get you here, and it was like you're Colombian, like it automatically like so you have Colombian, you have like escort, or you have a price tag, and it's like no, like on the contrary, like I want to fall in love, I want to have a family. Listen, if I marry wealthy, fuck it. But I'm not gonna marry a wealthy guy because he's wealthy. We gotta vibe. There has to be energy. There has to be connection. Like I couldn't imagine, excuse my language, sucking a guy's dick that I don't like. I could never. I wouldn't function. It wouldn't happen. And I feel like I said, for my culture, because a lot of people there, well, now we've come a long way, and we have so much connections with America now, and people are able to make more money there. But for years, even my mom's generation, it was either marry rich or stay poor, and a lot of people go and prey on her,
Yeah,
and that's what those guys do.
yeah.
And they're missing out because we have so much, just our cultural diversity. We have so much different resources. We have deserts, we have mountains, I mean, what don't we have in Colombia? And our food is delicious. And if you're lucky enough to get a Colombian girl, you have a maid, a chef, you have a porn star, a nurse, you'll have it all. But you have to marry with the right intentions and go in for the right intentions.
That's for you passport bros who want to become kings and actually looking for someone to do life with.
Coming from a Colombiana.
Yes, yes. And tell the people a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future.
Okay, so I'm currently working on developing my own foundation and tea and the tincture that I was mentioning on. A lot of my do you call it? The money that I make off of it is going to go back to a foundation for lymphedema resources. And my goal is to get as much information out there on what it is. So more people are informed, more doctors are informed. So if you see someone out there in the street with poorly swollen legs, you don't judge. You understand that there is an underlying condition there. If there is somebody that that has lymphedema and doesn't have or has cancer, there's a lot of foundations. So my goal is to connect all these foundations together and just have as many resources when it comes to the lymphatic system as possible.
When you see obese people and maybe they have like on their leg, roll on top of a roll, which just so you know, there's some guys who are looking for that. So I say, so you're looking for unhealthy. You're looking for an issue where you're gonna have to take someone to the hospital possibly, but I just like that extra meat. When you see that, are you able? Because it might be unprofessional. You know enough about me from the conversation we had to maybe Instagram, maybe that I'm not really PC. I'm gonna say what I mean. But are you able to go up to someone and say, "Hey, here's my card"?
I have.
You have. Okay.
I try to be as polite, and a lot of people don't know, and I can't tell you how many times I've had people tell me, "Oh my God, I've been going back and forth," and what I thought would be a 2-second conversation here is my card turns out to be an hour long, and I have a new client. Or I'm
Okay.
directing them to their doctor. I had a gentleman that I was like, you should go get your kidneys checked out. And he was in stage 4 kidney failure.
How could you tell that?
Just by the way the body is housing the lymphatic fluid.
Okay. Is there anything that someone listening, most of the people are listeners, you guys go over to the YouTube and check. Maybe she points to the spot where he was at, but was there anything where he was, now I'm trying to make sure I stand up straight and everything, but is there anything like, was his head to the side? Like you can tell an alcoholic by
He was
sometimes their
just super
skin.
swollen. There was so much retention and the body was starting to weep out, and you can just tell.
Wow.
You can just tell. And he's like, well, I haven't had my kidneys checked. How's your heart? That's always my first question. Or do you have congestive heart failure? Because a lot of time when you're in congestive heart failure, there would be a causing a fluid.
Mhm.
No. Have you had your kidneys checked? Yeah, last time I checked, they were here. Well, I think you should go back because I got a call back. I'm on stage 4 kidney
Wow.
failure.
Yeah.
Time out. Can I take a
Oh,
time out?
of course.
Let me pee real quick.
Get this. Okay. You have a detox.
So on my website, I
Mhm.
launched a 10-day nutritional cleanse.
Mhm.
It's all plant-based alkaline foods to help you reset your metabolism and reset your gut. Also, within that cleanse, I'm going to include some tips on how to activate your lymphatic system. So before you start, so far, all of my clients that have bought this 10 clients have guaranteed that they lost 10 pounds minimum. And it's not that, it's the way you don't need coffee, you'll get off the coffee, and you'll also be able to do a food elimination diary to where we'll eliminate certain foods and then we'll start incorporating them back into your diet to see if there's some sort of food aversion. A lot of people get bloated certain times and they don't understand why. But you have an aversion to food that you're unaware of. So here you'll be able to put the most common allergens back into your body slowly and then you can keep a log. So we'll do it. You'll put in, let's say, an egg, and then you'll wait like 3 days, and you'll wait to see how the body reacts as it processes that egg. And if you tend to have like a headache or you bloat or a sign of intolerance, then you know that there is some sort of elimination that you have to do with that food.
Are you a fan or have you ever partnered with, like, I use Viome because, again, my wife said you take too many pills. So let the doctor or let Viome test you and see what you're allergic to and what's not good for you. And I found out like lemons, I'm not to have. And I love lemons. Like I have a lemon tree, a small one at my house, but a
Right.
lemon tree. I'm like, I can't have lemons. I can't have watermelon. I can't have this. I don't eat a lot of meat. Like, have you partnered or found any companies that let
I'm
people?
not a partner yet. I have a couple of people I'm talking to as far as testing, but I haven't particularly. But I've heard Viome is really so. If that's something that's working for you and your wife, absolutely, you can send out the link and have people try that out and see.
It's
It works.
working for me because she suggested it, and it's better than me having every fish oil and every type of seed that's
Mm-hmm.
ever been made. But it's more of peace.
Personally, like I'm such a whole foods. Like I'm all about with there are certain supplements and there's a time and place for them, but
Mhm,
honestly, we can get a lot of the things that we need for food.
mhm.
So there's not a lot of partnerships with brands that I have. My biggest one is Microbiome Labs. I absolutely love their probiotics. If you use the code Robust DORE10, you'll get 10% off your order. And I mean, they are the best they are the best probiotics in the market. And the reason why I love them so much is because they're an actual spore. So as the spore is going through the gastric barrier, the spore dies so the cultures can actually make it to the colon. A lot of people are out buying probiotics and then you're spending $60, $70 on a bottle. And yeah, it can say 5 million IUs or billion IUs, but out of all those billions, you're getting maybe 10, 15 cultures in your actual colon. That's not doing anything for you. So I know Kiran Krishnan, he is one of my partners. For many years, he's taught me a lot. He's a microbiologist, and that's the only product that I truly recommend. And I've done a lot of good work with that product with my clients.
And where are you when you see your clients on eating meat versus being a vegetarian or a pescatarian or a full-on vegan? Where are you on that? Just with what you've seen in your own life and others.
I am a big firm believer in bio individuality. What works for you might not work for you. I think overall we should all focus on eating plants, being as plant based as we can. We could get a lot of nutrients from legumes. I'm Colombian, I love lentils. I can have lentejas 3 times a week and I'll be happy. I'm content, I'm full, my iron is great. I know I'm getting all my minerals, my protein. But I feel like there's a time and a place for meats. It just really depends on your body and how your body reacts. What might work for me and also where you're sourcing it from, as we discussed earlier, make sure that you're finding wild grass fed beef. The farmer, there's the butcher box. A lot of people buy that and they ask me, do you recommend butcher box? And I said, I don't know where they're sourcing them from. I've never tried them. I've been blessed to have a connection here with local farmers and the
Give your shout outs to your local farmer you gave earlier, as well as any other like places locally, because there's so many, nurseries here. I
Oh
mean,
my
you can
God.
get lost and go to the nursery, then find yourself at the nudist resort and say, "What turn did I make?"
So, Caribbean Plants and Produce is one of my favorites. They have been here the longest. Katie is the owner. She is fantastic. She's a good friend of mine.
And
She
Miss
has
Charlotte is in the back. Talk to Miss Charlotte in the back as
with
well.
yes, she does the orchids, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I love Katie because Katie tries to have as many relationship with other local people, and we all just kind of barter and bring her what we have. When I have too many mangoes in my tree, I bring them to her, and she sells them, and then I go and I get produce. I don't even care about the money. It's more of an exchange of things, and I'll get other things that I don't have.
Mm,
So I love her. There's the Cocoa Orange one, which was
mm,
just bought off by Colombians, and they're selling amazing paletas there. If you're into paletas, they're really good paletas, Colombian style popsicles. They have a lot of little local produce as well there. Um, and then when I can't find things in those two,
mm.
I'll hop around between Trader Joe's and Aldi, and then Circle C Farm is where I get my chicken and my beef from. And then my girl owns Cod and Capers, and they're a fish market in North Palm Beach. They're
Mhm.
a little bit of a hike, but they are the best people when it comes to fishing. They are an entire family of fishermen, and everything is wild caught. And you can actually go into the restaurant and they'll cook whatever fish you want that's freshly caught right then and there. It's amazing. So Cod and Capers is where I get my fish. The Circle C Farm is where I get my meats. And then as far as my produce, I kind of hop around depending on the seasons and what I find. Sometimes I find everything locally between them two markets,
Mhm.
and I don't need to. And for other times, I'll just have to go to the regular stores.
And for me, that's important. Like the first fish market I ever went to here was Isabella's, and not in Lochahatchee, but in I think that's West Palm. But I was always like, I need to make sure I'm not getting the fish that I see the fishermen at every canal, wherever they're throwing their fish at. In Isabella's, they're not doing that at all. Some people say, "Oh, but you have to speak Spanish there." Well, practice, practicar.
Practice,
Like,
yeah.
what's the problem? We're in South Florida. You're gonna have to speak a little,
Right. And
Spanish.
especially out here, like I have chicken, so I haven't bought eggs, and I can't tell you how many. I don't buy
Okay.
eggs.
Where are you getting your eggs?
I have my own chicken.
You have your own chicken, so okay.
So when I go out to eat breakfast, eggs is not something that's on the menu for me because I kind of become an egg snob a little bit. Like
Uh,
once you start eating your own eggs,
uh,
regular eggs don't taste the same.
I agree, because in Africa, that's a thing. I think for me, travel, because we travel so much, I can't take care of any animals. I'm taking care of, wife and kids. And because like this year alone, we did 20 weeks of travel and saw various countries, my chickens would be so,
Yeah, no, you would need a chicken handler.
yeah. And do they have one out
I'm sure. You
here? Is there a
can find anything in Loxahatchee.
really anything?
Literally.
Yeah. Man, I'm thinking now I'm way far left. Let me come back into
Come
the
back,
middle.
Kelly.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Um, no, this is great stuff. Before you leave, or maybe right after you leave, have you considered doing a Lochahatchee acreage guide? Saying farewell to people and letting people know, because I like the mayor of Westlake. He's a member of leadership of Palm Beach. Nice, cool guy. He's saying, I don't want to take over anything in Lochahatchee. I'm just dealing with
Which I
Westlake.
did.
And, but because we don't have representation out here, it's really the county. He's more of, I'm not here. And everyone that I've talked to, they love him. Like for years, they love that guy. So, and I think if he wants to become governor next or whatever he wants to do, he'll do it, because people of every assortment, like, that guy's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's changed so much out here since I moved out here. It's crazy, but that's a good idea. To start. Hopefully, we'll figure out the traffic situation, and then we can get more people in here. But
No,
for
no, do we want more people here? I don't, I'm being one of those guys now, but
look at you, I'm over here leaving
yeah.
because we're too full.
I don't want any more traffic. I
It's
know.
so bad. But yeah, so guide would be good just to let people know. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and like I said, from nail place to hair people to, well, now you have a local barber that does mobile. But I mean, like, when you're out here for as long as I have been, like, I can't go anywhere without like greeting someone. So I can see how making a little guide would be helpful for a new person.
And that means if Texas doesn't treat you right, and if she does come back here, that if she runs for whatever local office, you guys make sure you support, fund it.
Mayor Dory.
Yeah, well, we ain't got no mayor, city council or something like
Yeah.
that or whatever. I don't know. I live in an unincorporated area, so
Yeah.
it's just, can the people contact you for other consulting tips? And if so, give them a range of the price, because we'll have some thirsty Thomases like, yeah, I'm gonna contact her and try to suck up all your time.
Nope.
They got to
So
give you a
I
dime.
do a free consultation for 10 minutes, and it'll be very basic, and then we'll set up a time to, well, we'll have another consultation depending, or if it's just a treatment, then we'll arrange a treatment. But overall, it's all consultation based, and I will do a free consult for the first 10 minutes. And if we need to, if I feel it's going to take longer, then I'll go ahead and then we'll schedule something else. And an hour long will probably be around $50 just to talk and kind of come up with the game plan and design. And then what I can do too is that I'll use those $50 towards whatever you purchase. I'll find whether it's a meal plan, whether it's a health coaching package. My health coaching package can last up to 6 months. Because like I said, I'm selling lifestyles. I don't sell quick fixes. I don't believe in shakes or pills or Ozempic. We went from trying to be fit to everybody looking sick. Everybody's looking so like run down and what's the word? We went from being fit to looking bulimic, kind of like there's where is the in between? So for me, I try to stick, like, I'm not saying, and I don't judge anyone if you want to use that as a job start, but there's way to do it right without having to put all those toxic chemicals in your body.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because again, South Florida, I've had guests on like Palm Beach Barbie who has a salon, and she says if my tooth gets chipped, I go back to Colombia to have my Colombian dentist fix it. It's not a secret, and she talked about it in the interview, so I'm not being a chatty patty, but she's like, the way you see my body is how I wanted it built. And people, it's like Build-A-Bear out here in South Florida. People are building on whatever they want to put on, but again, you might look great. What's that inside looking like? And you don't see that until you look in the radiology
Man,
room.
you can be shizzle like a Greek god, and you
Mm-hmm.
can be rotten from the inside out.
Yeah.
It's just really that simple. So to me, like, internal health is it's what matters, and I myself have gone through it. I'm dealing with breast implant illness at the moment, and I'm going to be explanting a point at the end of this year. That's going to be my 41st birthday gift to myself. I'm gifting myself health because I know that these bags are the cause of my issues, and I've gone through a lot, and I've had to, over the last 6 months, really rebalance my hormones and rebalance my body. My white blood cell count was to the fucking roof, and I live this life. Like, this is not just something I preach. I think this is probably my only downfall, and I don't do this regularly. So I started to kind of like think, like, what is it? And then I started Googling breast implant illness, and I have about 70 out of 250 symptoms. And I honestly didn't even want to dig deeper because I didn't want to get in my head.
Yeah.
I can get in my head too, as much as I know about health. I'm human, and I have children, and I have a family. I don't want to have a reason to leave my family behind, especially over vanity.
Yeah.
And so I said, it's time to either explant, get new implants because I know they're over 10 years old, or just explant all around. And I've treated now over the last, I want to say, 4 years, since explantation has become more of a common surgery. I have about probably 30 women that I've treated, and their explantation process has not been easy. In my Instagram, on my pin posts, there's one there. There's a woman that I had that, I mean, she purged for 6 months. Her body was breaking out in hives, and she went through so much those first 6 months up until her body fully detoxed. And now she's back to normal, but it took some time for her to actually get to that.
What was the first sign? Because a lot of times people ignore the first sign, and you talked about 70. What was the first sign that you said something is wrong with these breast implants?
So I've always had anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've dealt on and off with anxiety due to some childhood trauma we'll get into another time. And I've gone to therapy and I've learned to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where everything that I knew how to manage was just not managing the symptoms. And I would just have full blown panic attacks. And then I went down to 99 pounds. I'm about 123 pounds.
Mm.
I was healthy, this is me being nice
Mm-hmm.
and solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about 99 pounds. I was so sick. My thyroid went crazy. My white blood cell count was crazy. My hair is not the same way. I used to have really thick, long hair. My hair is still nice, but you can just tell the difference. My energy levels aren't the same, and I've had to like really detox. But then when you have a ticking time bomb inside you, you have to be careful you don't over detox. So it's been trial and error for myself to work with myself.
Mm. Okay. And I say that because so many times people, again, and they ignore it, and then it's too late. Where I'm, my wife, who's qualified to say and diagnose, she's like, you're a hypochondriac. But it stops me from a lot of things. But I'm like, Damon John got an executive physical, and that's how he found out he had cancer early. So most people here can't afford a physical of that magnitude because like starts at $10,000, but you can go to Turkey and get it for less than 1,000. You got to pay
Well,
for the.
aren't we supposed to be having better insurance with the whole Obamacare and stuff?
If we go political, I will go down a rabbit hole where you guys be ready to go to Africa or Mexico because we did get our first woman president in Mexico, and she's been paying down the debt, which is rising the peso. People who know me know I see America. Yeah, we're supposed to get a lot of things that we're not going to get. And guess what? Politicians and even doctors are doing their best guess medicine for all their studies, right? They see so many people, like you see so many people, you see things and can tell someone, hey, your kidneys are failing. Presidents and governments are just a lot of times known for, doing what they do
But
globally.
even here, like doctors, you have that. The doctor is so quick. When you go to a visit, who do you spend more time with?
Um, because I have a different relationship with my doctor and it's my wife's friend and I'm coming in there and I'm getting greeted,
You
it's
know
a
your
little
shit.
it's a little it's a little different.
But most people don't have that. You
Yeah.
walk in, you see a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and you spend most time with your nurse. Your doctor comes in, how's that working? How's that doing? Okay, here's your prescription. Have a nice day. It happened with my mom just recently.
Yeah.
My mom loves beer. It's like her only vice.
Mm.
Beer can make your blood pressure high. It has a lot of wheat, especially if you're older.
Mm.
And you're already eating a lot of arroz con frijoles and you're doing all these things. So her pressure got high. And she comes up to me and she's like, they're giving me high blood pressure medication. And I'm like, and you're gonna take it? And she goes, no, that's why I'm coming to you first. I told my doctor I have to talk to my daughter first. And the doctor's like, who's your daughter? And my mom's like, well, my daughter's a health coach and, she helps me with all my functional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that helped me with my arm when doctors couldn't help me with my arm.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor's like, okay, well, talk to your daughter, but you should start taking the medication. You don't want to get a stroke. So they're putting fear in her, right?
Yeah.
Her pressure was pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, mom, we're going to do the 10-day cleanse. From there, you're going to follow my 30-day jump start. And you're going to start exercising every day and no más cerveza.
Mm.
Más.
Vino?
Vino. Un poquito. Un poquito de vino. Just a little bit of wine here and there. She never had to take the medication. She went back for blood work, followed up with her doctor. Her doctor's like, well, your labs are normal again. What did you do? I started exercising and I followed my daughter's meal plan.
Okay, so that goes to the next question because that's a big issue, and so is cholesterol for many of us. What do you have, and when are you writing the book? And so when we can get it, whether we get it from the library or if we buy it off the site for cholesterol, what do you have for us?
For cholesterol, I don't have anything yet, but cholesterol is like everything else. It's nutrition, and we have been taught so wrong about fats. Americans and the low fat diet, it's another topic and I could spend an hour just talking about that. But as far as cholesterol, just like everything else, let's focus on eating our greens, let's eat our fruits or veggies, let's have lean meats, lean proteins, moderation. Like I like to say, eat breakfast like a queen. And I learned that also from Dr. Barbara O'Neill when I spent 7 days learning alongside her. Eat breakfast like a queen, lunch like a king, and dinner like a pauper. And don't eat force after 6 o'clock. Make your dinner very small, very light. Make sure you're exercising, you're moving your heart. Your heart needs movement. Your lymphatic system needs, because we all need movement. And those are the keys to cholesterol. And remember, genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. And that is your choice.
You guys have gotten the game. Let them know where they can find you. But before you do that, I have people like this come on, because when you guys see other like interviews and people tell you I can cure all diseases if you take my tonic, like I would never have somebody on here like that. Like that's not advice. As you heard Miss Dory say, everybody can eat what they choose to eat in moderation, and she gave some game. But let them know where they can find you and when you will start and or finish the book. Since I've met you, I've tried to ask you, so you mean you don't do full-time YouTube yet?
I'm working on it. So I am going to be going full-time more on the platforms now. I'm really trying to take my business more virtual. I've been working with my hands now for too many years, and I'm tired. And it's time to let my brain and the education really go out there and get to where it really needs. And the more people I reach, the more I'm going to feel fulfilled, because like I said, yes, money is great and money is a necessary evil, but to me, this is a passion. This is something that I love to do. And it's something that's a gift that God gave to me. And God gives you gifts sometimes to monetize and sometimes to heal and to help others. And that is my mission. So I'm working on the book. Give me some time. I'm in the process of moving to Texas. But in the time being, if you go to my website, robustwholeness.com, there's my 10-day detox. You can find my 30-day jumpstart. I have an autoimmune protocol in there for anybody who's suffering from autoimmune conditions. And I can also help with hormonal imbalances as well. That's something that I'm working on at the moment. And then the lymphedema workshop will be launched here in the next 2 weeks, right before I leave to Dallas. So it's just a matter of combining everything and getting a good publisher. So if you know anybody, let me know.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys more out there, because we have a publishing company, but I love to make other people have their publishing company so you control your narrative. Your kids get it, the niñas and the niños, they can benefit, and we'll talk about that. You guys, I thank you for listening to the end, especially I know most of you are listeners, but go over to YouTube, give it a comment, give it a like, but most importantly, however you experience this podcast, give it a share. It will change somebody's life. We're talking about real talk. Y'all be blessed.
Hello, everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.